Suzuki. Oh, belle passe, et le tir sur le poteau. Oh, il a mis! Déminante, la passe, le tir, il a mis! We are the champions. Ehlers avec un tir. Schnikov vers l'histoire, il a mis! C'est bloqué par Dommage, il a mis! Qui reprend, voilà son tir. We suck again! Hudson avec Blair, le tir, il a mis! Avec Caulfield tire, et le but! Ehlers, oh quel jeu, quel cadeau, et le tir, et le but! We are the champions.
The Montreal Canadiens are in Carolina to take on the Hurricanes tonight. Mike Matheson out tonight, still feeling the effects of that elbow to the head by Brad Marchand. The Department of Panther Safety decided that no, there will be no hearing. Brad Marchand faced no supplementary discipline, and Matheson is out. Jaden Struble comes back into the lineup. Jakub Dobeš gets the start for Montreal. 12-5-3 with a .290 goals against average and an .894 save percentage. And in net for the Carolina Hurricanes, Brandon Bussey, 13-1-1 with a 2.08 goals against average and a .912 save percentage. And this one was about as perfect of a start as the Canadiens could have hoped for. Whereas the story in the last two games was the Habs and their inability to convert on their early chances, this time they made the Hurricanes pay and pay early, with two quick goals to set the tone. First was Nick Suzuki, who was set up nicely by his new line mate Alexandre Texier. He ripped a one-timer that many thought hit the post, but it was in fact right into the net. And then just 56 seconds later, it was the second line's turn to light the lamp, and it was an absolutely incredible goal. Juraj Slafkovsky to Ivan Demidov, who undressed the defender, saucers the pass over to Kapanen, who rips a one-timer. He had the entirety of the net to choose from, blasted it home, and he makes it 2-0 Montreal 4 minutes into the game. Now the Habs have had issues in previous games, and they've been unable to put opponents away after getting an early lead. They let them hang around. There's no reason that you should do anything but win a game in which you go up 2-0 4 minutes in, even if it's against one of the top teams in the NHL like the Carolina Hurricanes. But the Habs got into penalty trouble early after a minor penalty to Texier on a slash into Ehlers' nether regions, let's just say. The Canes go on the power play, and it's Nikolai Ehlers himself who makes the Canadiens pay. He ripped a wrist shot by Dobeš on the power play, and he cut the Canadiens' lead in half. It's just a goal though, it's not the end of the world. Refocus and don't allow this to cascade. But just a few minutes later, after sustained pressure in the offensive zone for the Hurricanes, Montreal gives up another goal. This time it's Sebastian Aho deflecting a point shot from Nystrom, and the Canadiens' 2-0 lead has evaporated in the blink of an eye. Dobeš in the first period did absolutely nothing to inspire any confidence, and I'd argue that that's the result of these silly games that the Canadiens have been playing with their goaltenders. Having three guys in the NHL will not work. You've got to make a decision, make a plan, and roll with it. It's not the preseason. It's not the time to experiment. You cannot keep rolling three guys and not let any of them get into a groove. And it just keeps getting worse. The Canes score yet again. The Canes score yet again to take their first lead of the game after a mad scramble in front of Dobeš. Dobeš had big issues with rebound control, was flopping around like a fish. He was a mile from his net, and the Hurricanes score. It's 3-2, 3 goals on 8 shots, 3 goals in a 4-minute span for the Hurricanes, and this one is just getting away from the Habs big time. Even on the few saves that Dobeš did make in the first period, he looked extremely shaky and nervous, and after a white-hot start, the Canadiens went the final 15 minutes of the period without even recording a shot on goal. So a 2-0 lead completely disintegrated into a 3-2 deficit in the blink of an eye, and the first period was just a microcosm of the Canadiens season. Elite offensive output, but then undisciplined penalties in the neutral zone and offensive zones, defensive zone breakdowns, and terrible goaltending. All in all, a completely unacceptable performance, especially after such a terrific start. The Hurricanes spotted the Canadiens 2 early goals, and they go into the intermission losing? That said, go into the intermission, go into the break, refocus, adjust, and come out ready for the second. And did the Canadiens do that? No. They go back to playing brain-dead hockey in the first minute of the period, allowing chances in the slot and taking yet another penalty. This time it's Hudson getting called for holding. The Canes go to the power play, and predictably, the Hurricanes immediately make the Canadiens pay. They score their 4th straight goal, this time on a one-timer blasted from the blue line. Dobeš just looks all out of sorts, the defense is completely stunned, and the penalty kill is a disaster without Mike Matheson. Did Marty make any adjustments at all in the intermission? For all the complaints he could have levied about the last 2 games that the Montreal Canadiens played against the Lightning and the Panthers, at least there was a consistent effort throughout the game, and it was more a lack of execution. Where did the team go after they got a 2-0 lead? What happened to these guys? What are they doing? The Habs actually end up taking another penalty. You're thinking it's just going to go from bad to worse, but somehow they kill it off, and as if on cue, down 2 goals, the Canadiens suddenly wake up. Lane Hutson pokes a loose puck between a pair of Carolina defenders, and Samuel Blais alertly rushed forward all alone and poked it by Bussy to bring the Canadiens back to within 1. After the Canadiens score their first of the period, Dolbesch does come up with a couple of big saves. Credit to him. Once it was at 4, he did a pretty good job. It was by no means a display which inspired any confidence, but he made the saves he had to do, and the Canadiens catch a break. Aho gets called for a high stick. The first unit goes on the power play. They generate a couple of chances. But for some reason, after just 50 seconds, Marty St. Louis puts out the second unit. I have no idea why. They predictably do absolutely nothing. But the Canadiens keep pushing, and they get a lucky bounce off of a Hurricanes defender. It leads to an odd man rush for the Canadiens, Alexandre Texier and Cole Caulfield. Texier feeds Caulfield, who finds the tiniest of openings, and miraculously the Canadiens have somehow tied it. I don't know why they feel the need to go down by multiple goals in every game on this road trip before waking up, but they've done it again. It's a brand new game, treat it as such. You've got 23 minutes left to decide this one. Forget all the mistakes and poor plays you've made before this. Focus up and go. And the Canadiens do exactly that. They go out and make the most of another gift. This time, Nikolai Ehlers just gift wraps one to Josh Anderson in the high slot. Anderson, very patient, waits Bussy out, and somehow, after all of this, the Habs are up 5-4. And if Dolbesch has played poorly, then Bussy has played even worse. The Habs miraculously make it into the intermission, up 5-4. This game is going to give me an aneurysm or a heart attack. I don't know what, and I don't even know how to describe this game. Bipolar, split personality, a mind bender. I don't know which team wants to lose more, but we're going to find out in the third period. I do not understand the use of the second power play unit by Marty St. Louis at this point in the season. It's not like at the start of the year when they were fully manned. This second unit is not good. Josh Anderson looked like he got banged up right at the end of the second, and as we come out for the third, we find out that Anderson is not going to return to this game. Looked like he was bent over. I'm hoping it's not a long-term injury, but it's another name to add to the injury list for the Canadiens. The third period was a bit of a slower start. A few nice plays early by the second line, but I'm totally fine with a bit of a slower period because the first 2 periods were just too much. There weren't many shots from either team, and there were even fewer scoring chances for either team. The Habs did a really good job of keeping the Canes to the outside, and it was a complete reversal of how they played in the first 30 minutes of this one. Then out of nowhere, the Canadiens generated a glorious chance when Nick Suzuki deflected one right off the post. Texier was right there for the rebound, but he couldn't put it through, and that kind of seemed to open things up a little bit in this one. Juraj Slafkovsky takes the puck in his own end and goes coast to coast, then from an extremely sharp angle catches Bussy off guard. A terrible goal to allow. One of the worst goals I've seen given up by any goaltender in the league this year, but I'll take it. Nice snipe by Slafkovsky gives the Canadiens their second 2-goal lead of the game and their first since the first period. Finally, a little bit of breathing room for the Montreal Canadiens. And now the Canes, again, couldn't get much of anything going after that Slafkovsky goal. Gallagher couldn't put one in because of course he couldn't. It's Brendan Gallagher and he cannot buy a goal this year. Lane Hutson had a nice look. Bussy made one of his few saves on him. And the Canes get desperate. They pull the goaltender with just under 4 minutes to go, and they end up getting one. A puck just sneaks by Dolbesch. It bounces in the air behind him and just crosses the line. The Canadiens cannot make anything easy, can they? So you've got just under 3 minutes to go, and the Canadiens' breathing room is gone. But the Habs bend and don't break. And from almost 200 feet away, Lane Hutson gets some space in his own zone, launches one towards the empty net, and he's able to get it in, restore the Canadiens' 2-goal advantage, and thank goodness the Habs survive another game in which they go down multiple goals, this time with the added bonus of having blown a multi-goal lead in the same game. You can question the means, you can question the method, you can't question the result. The Habs go to 3-0-2 in the first 5 games of this road trip, and 5-0-2 in their last 7 overall. It's their first win in Carolina since April of 2016. Are you kidding me? A decade? Ooh. But anyway, you guys, that's gonna be it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And have a great night, guys.
Thank you. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the boys have big wins tonight. I'll go with a guy that had a couple of big blocks today and a game winner goal for us.
Yes. Oh yeah!
Great game, boys. Let's keep going.
Yeah!